We're in session at call number 319-919. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Gene J. Flores. We have Mr. Flores, present in court. Mr. Flores, how are you doing?
Good. How about yourself, Your Honor?
I'm doing fine. And Mr. Flores, you're here with your attorney, Mr. James Macon. Mr. Macon, how are you doing?
Wonderful, Your Honor, for a Monday.
Okay, who's the prosecutor?
It's Julie, Your Honor. She's busy with Brian there. Your Honor, on Mr. Flores' case, the state is going to refile. So we would ask for like a 2-week resetting to give them time to get that taken care of.
Okay,
And then we'll get back in.
give us a 2-week resetting on Gene Flores on the trial docket number 3, first page.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Put it back on a trial docket?
No, you're gonna put it on a plea docket. He's gonna plead in 2 weeks. November 1st? Okay. Okay, Mr. Making case gonna be reset to November 1st for plea. You can get your reset. Mr. Flores, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Making, is this your only case?
With you, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Mr. Porter. We have anybody ready? Who we have?
I have, Shayla's ready.
Yes.
Mr. Shavis? This is Mr. Gary Lee Shavis.
Okay.
Is that all?
Just make sure you speak.
We're in session at cause number 323-544. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Gary Lee Chavis Jr. Mr. Chavis, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chavis, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Chavis, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Chavis, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Chavis?
Fine, and you, sir.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Chavis, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. James Paget. Mr. Paget, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. Thank
That's
you.
good. Mr. Chavis, I have before me the information that alleges that on or about June 2nd of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Chavis, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Chavis, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or contest? Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Chavis, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Chavis, there are a set of initials on the line that's next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification, the Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is this your signature on above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have that. Discovery.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. Normally I hand it to you. I got caught flat-footed there.
Oh, that's fine. Mr. Chambers, I have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Chambers, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Paget, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the
Yes.
best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objections, Your
No
Honor.
objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Paget, you have advised and counseled Mr. Chambers. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Chambers, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Chambers, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 180 days, probated over 1 year, a $500 fine, 60 hours community service, DWI education, and drug and alcohol assessment.
Okay, Mr. Chambers, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $407, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $907. You also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. This is wrong. Somebody for, you got $5,000 for, that should be $50.
It might help with the monthly payment.
John.
Okay, now let me repeat this. Mr. Chambers, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you do not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $407, which comes to a total of fine and court costs $907. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. And you'll also be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. And should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $160 per month. Will you be able to pay the $160 each month?
Each month, yes, sir.
Yes. Now, you'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, attend and complete a DWI education class, and you will also be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Chavis, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chavis, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Chavis, you're going to stand on X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following our clerk's directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
I have another case, however, I'm working it out. So
Okay.
I'm, be submitted.
Okay.
No need to call around.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, could you please call James Vance? Vance on the pretrial conference docket?
That's gonna be a, I don't know, it was supposed to be for announcement, but we're announcing the trial. We're
That's right.
trying to work it out.
Oh,
She said
Who's,
February first
okay, who's the prosecutor?
is Maxie.
Ms. Maxey? Okay,
Let's say January 31st or February 7th, either one of those days are fine for us.
okay. We in session in cause number 325-288, case to style the state of Texas versus James Landon Vance. Mr. Vance, how are you doing?
Good this morning. How are you, Your Honor?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Vance, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Willard Hall. Mr. Hall, how are you doing?
Good, fine. Your Honor.
That's good. Mr. Hall, what is your announcement in Mr. Vance's case?
It's gonna be a trial, and I talked to the coordinator. They said there's something for the week of January 31st or February 7th. And Either one of those days are fine.
Okay, did you give him the date?
January 30th.
January 30th.
Is that okay?
Okay, Mr. Vance, your case is being reset to January 31st, 2022 for trial. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You have a good day, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Next. Should, okay. Could you call Darby is Chillette? Is that correct?
Pretty close. Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, good morning. This is cause number 328-716. And the case is style of state of Texas versus Darby Lane
Shillett.
Chillett.
Shillett.
Shillett.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how you doing, Mr. Shillett?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Shillett, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Jason Nix. Mr. Nix, again, how are you doing?
I'm good, Judge.
Mr. Nix, what is your announcement in Mr. Shillett's case?
We've submitted a plea.
Okay. Oh, you have the paper? Oh, you in the tablet?
I'm out of it. Can you get in it?
Okay. Okay, thanks. Mr. Shillett, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Shillett, do you swear or affirm and tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shillett, you may put your hand down. And Mr. Nix, do you waive a record in Mr. Shillett's case?
I'll do, Your Honor.
Mr. Shillett, I have before me an information that, oh, let me do this here. Two, 716. There it is. Okay, Mr. Shillett, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about December 13th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Shillett, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Okay, now, Mr. Shillett, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment, which is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Shillett, there's a set of initials DC on a line next to box check no contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, on the same document rather, but the next page, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Did you place your signature above this line? And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, Mr. Shillett, do you recognize this document? Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Correct.
There are two boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Correct.
Okay. You had a certification.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Shillett, I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Mr. Schiller, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Correct.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. You like to offer State's Exhibit 1 and also State's Exhibit number 2, the
Yes,
probable
Your
cause affidavit?
Yes, sir.
Any objections? No objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Nix, you've advised that counsel, Mr. Schiller, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Mr. Schiller, your attorney, Mr. Nix, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Schiller, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The 1 year deferred adjudicated probation, $1,000 fine, 80 hours community service, DWI education course, drug and alcohol assessment, and ignition interlock class.
Okay. Mr. Schiller, the state is offering that you serve, let's see, 1 year deferred. Okay, let me, Mr. Schiller, your driver's license, do you have a commercial driver's license?
No, sir. I do supposedly drive a commercial vehicle.
But
I
you-
can in this town.
But you don't, do you have a commercial driver's license? You don't have a commercial driver's license. Okay, now this offense occurred after September 1, 2019. The other thing is, what, did he have a blood, what was his BAC?
It was under 0.15 on me.
And I have that probable cause affidavit.
0.143, Your Honor.
Okay, you just made the cut. Mr. Schiller,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation during this 1 year probationary. Let's see, during this 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $422. You'll also be required to, now that total of fine and court costs is $1,422. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. And you'll also be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Now, should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $205. Mr. Schiller, will you be able to pay the $205? Okay. Mr. Schiller, you also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, and you'll be required to attend and complete a DWI education class, and you'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Schiller, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Mr. Shillett, all following people are in agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Shillett, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Mr. Nix, about the non-disclosure. He's quite competent in those matters. Mr. Shillett, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, going to follow the directions of our court clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Do you think, sir?
Use your right fingerprint.
Signature page, you sign on it.
Announce if we're on the pretrial docket.
Yeah, just hold on. He's still on YouTube. Okay.
Given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a misdemeanor felony in this state or any other state. Okay, and you have any other pending charges that you're aware of? Once you've been through larger reports of probation, please match everything.
Here, Mr. Lane.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Okay, what was, what? Gillum? Would you please call Anthony Gillum? Gillum. Gillum. Anthony Gillen. This is cause number 325-319. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Anthony Gillen. Anthony Ray Gillen, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Gillen?
Doing all right, please, sir.
That's good. Mr. Gillen, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Brian Lane. Mr. Lane, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor, thank you.
That's good. Mr. Lane, what is your announcement in Mr. Gillen's case?
Trial.
Okay, could you give us a trial date?
January 31st.
Okay, Mr. Gillen, your case has been reset to January 31st for trial. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be, well, January 31st of 2022. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Mr. Lane, you can stand over there, get your reset, and you'll be free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Turk? Armando Gara? Gara. We're in session in cause number 329-298. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Armando Gara III. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gara, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Gara, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gara, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Guerra?
Pretty good. How about yourself, Judge?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Guerra, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Brent Turk. Mr. Turk, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Turk, do you waive a record in Mr. Guerra's case?
We do.
Mr. Guerra, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about September 8 of 2020, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Guerra, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Guerra, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
And are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Guerra, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Guerra, there's a set of initials, AG, on the line next to boxes, check no contention. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, it's a trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that? I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
Now, Mr. Guerra, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
He did.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me, State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states to the probable cause affidavit.
Any objections?
No objection, Judge.
No objection. States Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Turk, you've advised that counsel, Mr. Guerra, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Judge.
Mr. Guerra, your attorney, Mr. Turk, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I am.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Guerra, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The offer is for 180 days probated over 18 months, a $750 fine, 75 hours community service, DWI education, drug and alcohol assessment, and interlock device.
Okay. Mr. Guerra, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $700 plus court costs. And the total fine and court costs is $1,172. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to reimburse Jefferson County for the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. And you'll be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the amount of money that you will be required to pay each month, is $160 per month. Mr. Guerra, will you be able to pay the $160 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 75 hours of community service, attend and complete a DWI education class. You'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to install the interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Guerra, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Guerra, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Guerra, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Turk, is this you on the case?
I have another one on the docket.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
okay, you're welcome. Toby Jones.
First, I need your right thumb right on the first pad.
3, 4.
Now you can sign on the signature pad. You won't see that. Mr. Turk, you can sign. You swear you've never been given. Swear you have never before been convicted and given to earn adjudication or release probation from misdemeanor, felony, and disorder in any other state.
Mr.
And do you have
What do we
any
do?
other pending
Get
charges
Caitlin
against you
Thomas?
that you know of?
No.
Once you leave here, you are to report to probation, and here's the map to show you how to get there, okay?
Mr. Provo?
No point, I see it.
Okay. Okay,
I need to talk about
okay. That's fine.
Your Honor, I have those.
Yes,
Mr. Dennis Carey, he's here.
what docket is he on?
I'm sorry,
What docket is he on?
the announcement docket. We have a,
Oh, would you, Mr. Bailey, could you please get Mr. Dennis Carey? He's on the announcement. Pretrial. Yeah, he's on pretrial. He's the last one on the pretrial conference docket. Dennis Carey, this is cause number 328190. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Dennis Deshawn Carey. Mr. Carey, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how are you doing, Mr. Carey?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Carey, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Willard Hall. Mr. Hall, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Carey's case?
yes, sir, it's gonna be a plea. We just would ask to be put on a plea docket.
Okay. It's on
I'm
a,
sorry, I didn't mean to leave volume for everybody else.
okay, give us a date.
11/29.
It's gonna be reset to November 29th of 2021. Mr. Carey, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
All right, you too.
Okay. Mr. Vest, Mr. Vasquez, well, I asked for Mr. Vasquez,
I thought I heard my name.
yeah. Mr. Vasquez, now you have, good morning, how you doing? Okay. Actually, Mr. Vasquez, you have, all of your cases on the trial docket. Well, got 1, 2, like Mr. West, 3. Yeah, let me do this. I'm gonna call the trial docket after I do this, okay? Do you have any cases on any other docket besides the trial docket? Let's see. Yeah, look like they all on the trial docket. Oh, yeah, you have, okay, DiCario, he's on Zoom. He's been on Zoom for a while. This is cause number 325622, State of Texas versus Andy DiCario. Mr. DiCario, you could take your mic off of mute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. DiCario, thanks for being patient with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. DiCario, your attorney, Mr. Joe Vasquez is present in court. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Vasquez, what is your announcement in Mr. DiCario's case? I see it was an old note. I was looking at an old note, said he was approved for pretrial diversion. That was in 2020.
He is, Your Honor, and we're waiting to see if Mr. DeCario can sign up for the first Thursday in December.
Okay, y'all scheduled for the first Thursday?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna reset this till the second week in December.
December 13th.
Okay, Mr. DeCario, your case is gonna be reset to December 13th of 2021. Your reset will be to your attorney and your bondsman. Mr. DeCario, this will conclude your case. Again, thanks for being patient. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
And Mr. Vasquez, we'll get back to your other cases on your, on the trial docket.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, now we have,
Mr. Vasquez.
is that Taylor Lenore? Mr. Porter? Hey, please. Okay. Good morning. Now, how you pronounce your first name? Talil?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's Talil Ahmad Taylor Lenore.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Okay. Now, I see Mr. Taylor Lenore. You're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Antoine Freeman. Mr. Freeman, how are you doing?
I'm good, John.
That's good. And Mr. Taylor Lenore, how are you doing?
Doing good.
That's good. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Freeman, what is your announcement in Mr. Taylor Lenore's case?
Your Honor, it's set for pretrial conference. I've talked to the prosecutor. She needs to look at the video, so we need to reset it.
Okay.
So we can come and look at the.
How much
video.
time y'all need?
Just a standard reset.
Standard reset?
Reset.
What is that?
November 29th.
Okay, it's gonna be reset to November 29th, 2021. Mr. Taylor Lenore, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. And Mr. Freeman, you can sign the pad, get your reset. I think this is
That's all I want.
your only case. You'll be free to go as well. You have a blessed day. Are we ready on Mr. Turks? Are we ready on Mr. Turks' case? We did, No. I'm looking at somebody else. We have Toby. Did you,
Working on,
which one you have ready?
working on amendments.
That's the next one?
Yeah, because I was working on Thomas, but she took her time.
Okay, so that'd be, you working on Jimenez? Just let me know when it's ready. Arthur Smith. Oh, good morning. We're in session in cause number 325947, The case is styled the state of Texas versus Arthur Smith. How you doing, Mr. Smith?
Doing well. So,
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Smith, you're represented by Ms. Lori Perazzo. Ms. Perazzo, do you have an announcement that you'd like to make in this case?
Yes, sir, this will be a trial.
January 31st.
Let me ask you, do we have any bond conditions in this case? I see what this case was transferred January 31st. Cause number is 325947. Okay. Let me get is the hold on. Mr. Smith, you've just been handed a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions and County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will go over these conditions with you. And it reads, following arrest and or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein or orders subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Condition number 2, defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who, A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.40, Article 17.44, Section A2 and Section C2. Do you understand that condition? And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? And condition number 4 does not apply because that only applies in the DWI case. In your case, it's not a DWI case. Now, Mr. Smith, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond may be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Smith, your case has been reset January 31st of 2022. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
You too as well.
And Mr. Perazzo, is this your only case?
That is the only-
Okay, you're free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Do we have anybody ready?
Jimenez is ready.
Jimenez.
He's right.
What, okay, we're in session and cause number 327222, State of Texas versus Jose Rosa Jimenez. Oh, yes, a couple of cases. Two cases. Which one? Okay. Okay, we're in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number 324030-1. And the second case is cause number 327222. Both cases are styled the State of Texas versus Jose Rosa Jimenez. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Jimenez?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Jimenez. Would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Jimenez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir. I do.
You may put your hand down. Mr. Jimenez, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Joe Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Vasquez, do you waive a record in Mr. Jimenez cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Jimenez, I have before me in cause number 324030 an information that alleges that on or about January 12th of 2020, excuse me, January 12th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance penalty group 2A. Mr. Rosa, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Rosa, how do you plead? Guilty,
No
not
contest.
guilty?
No, I'm sorry, sir.
Guilty, not guilty, or no
No
contest?
contest.
Now, Mr. Rosa, Mr. Jimenez, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes,
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
yes, sir.
Mr. Jimenez, I also have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Rosa, do you recognize, Jimenez, I keep saying Rosa.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jimenez, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir. I do.
Now, on page 2 of this same document, are these your initials on a line next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this document, Mr. Jimenez, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Jimenez, on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir. It is.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box checked states that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the second box check states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I do, sir.
And Mr. Jimenez, I have another document before me that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Jimenez, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I have just mentioned to you, Did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Correct, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Boyd, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Would you also like to offer not only State's Exhibit number 1, but also State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Vasquez, you advised and counseled Mr. Jimenez. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jimenez, the attorney, Mr. Vasquez, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mr. Jimenez, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. And I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It's 15 days county jail. And if it's acceptable to the court, the defendant would be allowed to check in this Friday at 5 p.m. by 5 p.m.
Okay, what's the date?
The 22nd.
22nd. Okay, at 5 p.m.
Yes, Your Honor. And also.
Isn't it 6 p.m.?
Mhm.
I think this is the standard time is 6 p.m. He could be on or before 6 p.m. So if he gets there at 5, but what we usually put in the judgment is on or before 6 p.m.
Yes, Your
Thank you.
Okay,
And also cause number 327222.
okay.
That case will be dismissed in consideration for plea in this current case.
Okay. 327222. Mr. Jimenez,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 15 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Do we have a affidavit in Okay, Mr. Jimenez, the state is offering that you serve 15 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you are entitled to get by law. Now, the court cost in this case is $337. Mr. Jimenez, will you be able to pay the $337
When?
prior to you getting completing this sentence?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Okay, you start the sentence on Friday, and you have 15 days. I'm just saying, before this sentence is completed, will you be able to pay?
I'm not sure, sir. I mean, I'm not working on them.
Okay, that's what it needs.
He has one in his master, but it's not filled out.
Well, let me see it. I just need to ask you a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Just need to ask you a couple questions. Now, Mr. Jimenez, brief, you stated that you're not working. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, are you receiving any type of governmental benefits such as Medicaid, SSI, SNAP,
No, sir.
TANF, or do you live in public housing?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. And do you have, so you're not receiving any benefits and you do not have any form of income?
No, sir.
So it's zero.
Zero.
Okay, that's fine. And your bill zero as well?
Oh, I got hospital bills coming in, but I mean, that's just it.
Okay, okay. So, I mean, let me ask you, you're living, are you homeless? Do you live with someone, family
I'm
member?
living with my brother right now.
Family member.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're not paying any rent or utilities or anything of that nature. He's providing for the food as well. And transportation, he's providing that.
Well, let's turn it off right now.
That's off.
Yeah.
So y'all have no probation fees or anything at the time.
No, sir.
And okay, so only thing you have is medical.
Medical bills.
Okay, so the court is going to find that you are indigent, and based on that finding, the court cost of this case, in this case of $337 will be waived, which means you will not have to pay it. And that's pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
So you're welcome. So Mr. Jimenez, I'll just repeat. The state is offering that you serve 15 days in Jefferson County Jail. You be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case of $337 will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Now, Mr. Jimenez, do you understand the state's offer?
I do, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Correct, sir, I do.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, now, Mr. Jimenez, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement. You're set to turn yourself in on October 22nd, which is Friday at or before 6 p.m. And the state will be dismissing your second case as part of this plea bargain. And that case number is cause number 327222. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Jimenez, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, going to follow the directions of your clerk, of our clerk. And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you should get a copy of your dismissal. I'm gonna sign it to get it before you leave.
Man, my
The-
days that I've already, 7 days already done.
The jail will figure that out for
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Okay. Okay. What's the date? The dismissal is being printed off right now.
Yes, sir.
What plea you have ready now? Hernandez,
Brianna Lede.
okay, Ms. Lede, put your mic on mute.
Okay.
Toby Jones, yeah.
I see it. Okay, let me do that one right quick.
You hadn't did.
Before anybody else coming in.
Yes. Okay.
Right thumbprint.
329.
Lift it up and try it one more time.
And I will have to translate, Mr.
Okay. 329. Okay.
The copy that you're gonna get them, okay? I'm gonna email them a copy as well, but just make sure you bring your copy. when you turn this in.
Okay, you are, you have a blessed day. We're in session of cause number 329194. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Eduardo Hernandez. We have Mr. Hernandez here with his attorney, Mr. Charlie Rojas. Mr. Rojas has informed the court that Mr. Hernandez speaks Spanish. And so, Mr. Rojas, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Rojas, do you swear or affirm to interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish to help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Mr. Hernandez, how are you doing?
Very well, how are you, Judge?
I'm doing fine. And Mr. Rojas, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rojas, do you waive a record in Mr. Hernandez's case? Okay. Mr. Hernandez, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about December 6th of 2020, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Hernandez, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes,
And to this charge, Mr. Hernandez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
yes,
And are you pleading guilty because you're guilty?
yes.
Mr. Hernandez, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. Mr. Hernandez, do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And Mr. Hernandez, are these your initials below the paragraph that is titled citizenship?
yes.
Now, Mr. Hernandez, I will read this paragraph to you. And it states, if you are not a US citizen, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization. Did your attorney read this to you?
Yes.
And did he explain to you what this meant?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Hernandez, do you still want to go forward with your plea knowing what I've just read?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hernandez, I have on the next page of the same document, there are a set of initials EH on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
And on the next page of the same document, Mr. Hernandez, is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
And the next document that I have before me is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
There are two boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box check states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you are waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Hernandez, are you a US citizen?
No.
And Mr. Hernandez, what country are you from? Mexico? Mr. Hernandez, I have before me another document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you in Spanish?
Yes.
And did you understand everything that he went over?
Yes.
And is everything that he went over in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Oops, that's the wrong. Yes, and why not? This is one of Judge, trying to call that law number 3. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. And Mr. Rojas, you've advised in counsel, Mr. Hernandez, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hernandez, your attorney, Mr. Rojas, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. And I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
365 days county jail, probated over 1 year, $1,200 fine, 60 hours community service, DWI education course, drug and alcohol assessment, and ignition interlock.
Okay. Mr. Hernandez, the state is offering that you serve 365 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time, or you would not have to serve time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,200, court costs of $422. The total fine and court cost is $1,622. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a year analysis fee of $15 each month. And you'll be required to pay a Jefferson County DWI education class initial evaluation fee. They got 0 on here. You said a Jefferson County DWI education class and the issue evaluation fee is 0? Supposed to be 125. Okay. Okay, let me do this. Now, you'll also be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class and the initial evaluation fee of $125. And should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the $125 Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee is due and payable on the day of the plea. Now, Mr. Hernandez, the total amount that you would have to pay each month in monthly installments is $225 a month. Mr. Hernandez, will you be able to pay the $225 per month?
Yes.
And Mr. Hernandez, you will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, attend a DWI education class, and you'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll be required to install the DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. And you also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Hernandez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Hernandez, you're gonna stand on the X, follow the instructions of our clerk. Once you finish following those instructions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Do you have Mr. Pages?
Judge, I had two other places.
Okay. Okay, just. Okay, you got that. That's on the pretrial conference.
Ms. Campbell has been in the hospital September 30th. She doesn't have a discharge date yet. So
Okay. Okay, so that's going sick. Okay, we want to give that. We're gonna get that to the clerk. Okay. Okay. Who else you have?
Jordan Reed.
Your Honor, that case has been assigned a dismissal on it. It was taken into consideration with the
Reed?
felony. Yes, Your Honor. It's 329314.
Okay. Okay, I'll go sign the dismissal on that.
And I think that's all I have.
I get your right thumb first.
Read.
Thank you. Should we assign a signature page?
You still have Toby, you still in Toby Jones,
I do.
No, I was talking to her. Toby Jones? It's here? Here it is right there. We're in session of calls number 314-994, case is styled the state of Texas versus Toby Jones. Mr. Jones, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Jones, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Jones? That's good. Mr. Jones, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. James Padgett. Mr. Padgett, do you waive a record in Mr. Jones' case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jones, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about December 29th of 2016, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of attempting to elude a police officer. Mr. Jones, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Jones, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jones, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this same document, there's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And the next document is titled the Trial Court Certification Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? And Mr. Jones, I have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Did you, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Jones, is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Jones, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any-
No objections to stage 1, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Paget, you advise and counsel Mr. Jones. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jones, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
A $1,500 fine plus court cost. And Mr. Jones has 2 days jail credit towards that.
Okay, Mr. Jones, the state is offering that you serve, well, that you pay a fine of $1,500 plus court costs of $402, which comes to a total of $1,902. Also, the state will be giving you credit for 2 days, which means that if $200 will be subtracted from the 1902, which leaves a balance of 1702. Now, Mr. Jones, would you be able to pay this today?
Didn't already pay some of the.
Yeah, we checked, evidently the court cost must have increased.
It
since
must,
we-
yeah, okay.
yeah, so when we checked it, when we set it for the plea, it's been a couple of months.
Oh, yeah, yeah, because the court cost is $202. Would you be able to pay that
Would
today?
you be able to pay this by this evening?
I had 1650 because that's what I thought it was gonna be.
He's just, he's a little bit off. He has
Okay.
Like 50, 60 bucks.
Much-
What's the?
When we checked the court costs, they were lower. And when we came back, they're higher now.
We're gonna reduce the, you're trying to adjust the fine on there.
What's the total amount?
1902. Well, then you
We
subtract
only struck 2, so 17.
1702.
And he has 1650s.
That's $52, huh?
So it was $52. I know it happens. I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess, yeah.
Check 48, so it'd be 1448.
Oh, so you're, yeah, he's making a, you changing
The
it?
fine to 1448, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Like I said, he's been very responsible.
Okay,
and
just, okay, just
he
hold
brought
on.
specific-
Okay, that's fine. Just hold on a minute. She's gonna hurry up and redo the paperwork. now state in cause number 314994, case is filed the state of Texas versus Toby Jones. State has amended its offer. And state, would you please state what the state's offer is in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a fine of $1,448. And Mr. Jones has 2 days jail credit. Plus the court.
$1,448. Okay. That's court cost. Now, Mr. Jones, the state is offering that you pay a fine of $1,448 in this case. And the court costs, the fine plus court costs in this case comes to a total of $1,850. And the state will be giving you credit for 2 days, which means that they will subtract $200 from the $1,850, which leaves a total of $1,650. Mr. Jones, would you be able to pay that today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Jones, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Jones, please stand on the X. You're going to follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following the directions, you'll be excused to make your payment and then
Thank you.
come back with your receipt, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on a minute. Brianna Lede? Miss Lede? Brianna Lede? She's on Zoom.
Yes, this is Brianna Lede.
Okay, Miss Lede, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine today.
That's good. Miss Lede, your attorney is Mr. Joe Vasquez. He's present in court. Mr. Vasquez, what is your announcement?
Reset, please. I need to allow Ms. Lede a chance to look at the video. She's been very diligent, kept up with me. I just haven't been able to get the video to her.
You know the case on the trial deck.
I found out this morning about that. If we could have a week, won't reset.
Okay, State, you have any objections?
No objection.
Okay. Okay. Okay, case is gonna be reset. Ms. Lede, stay in contact with your attorney. Your attorney is gonna be given a copy of your reset. This will conclude your case. You're free to go and you have a blessed day, Mr.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Mr. Vasquez, you can stand over there and get your reset.
Sure.
Dennis Wise,
Judge, I think we could probably resolve this one. There's just a legal issue that I need to run down.
okay, just, okay. Mr. Wise?
Yes, sir.
This is cause number 328196, case in style of State of Texas versus Dennis Vernon Wise II. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, how you doing, Mr. Wise?
I'm blessing yourself.
I'm blessed as well. Now, Mr. Wise, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Turk. Mr. Turk, what was your announcement?
Judge, I think we can resolve this one. I just need to run down a legal question that I have been trying to research, and I just ran out of time with this one, considering it's a violation, the allegations of a violation of a protective order out of family court. I'm uncertain if this has Lautenberg aspects to it or not, and whether or not it's going to restrict his firearm, or be able to have a firearm. I have not had a good, clear answer that on a misdemeanor side of that, to be honest.
Where's my, I got a, well, when I read, there's an admonishment that I read from the section 176.1 of Texas Administrative Code, and it, family violence is on there in terms of.
Right, for an assault family violence case, but for.
No, family violence. I can, let's see. I don't have a copy, well, but you can, yeah, I don't have it on, but anyway, but I'll give you time now.
Sure.
Stay, who's the prosecutor on that? You have some, you have any objections to him getting time to research whatever issue he needs to research?
Judge, what was that section?
I think it was 170. I have a,
That's all right. I can,
those, we had those things that we hand out to the lawyers.
well, I mean, I know it goes to the, anyway, we're going to reset, and I'll research it, Judge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I have, not that I've been not doing it, just I haven't found the good answer because everything references.
Yeah.
county.
I don't know.
Okay, Judge.
I'm gonna have to, I don't even have it. I'm gonna have to find my copies.
I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find my copies. I don't even have.
Because I'm honestly gonna watch it.
Oh. Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see it. Well. Okay,
All right,
so his case is gonna be reset. How much time you need?
Regular reset, Judge.
And then you're gonna keep it on the trial docket, or you're gonna keep it, or what y'all gonna do with it?
Let's go put it on the plea docket. So I think it's
Okay.
gonna resolve. I just want to make sure I know. the answer
Okay,
to this
give him
question.
put it, a standard reset, put it on the plea docket. And this is, okay. Okay. We got Mr. Smith. Is Claire De Leon? Bruce Smith?
Yes, sir.
Your name is Claire Elizabeth DeLeon?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. DeLeon? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. DeLeon, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Smith. Mr. Smith, how are you doing?
Fine, Your Honor.
That's good, Mr. Smith. This case is on the court's trial docket. What is your
Your
announcement?
Honor, I filed a formal motion for a continuance.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And I am
Was-
set for an aggravated sexual assault of Judge Davis, Judge Westport this afternoon.
Okay.
I spent my entire time getting ready on that. I contacted the state.
You have any objections to
No objection.
continues? Okay. Okay, so defense motion. Your motion will be granted. I'll sign it. You can get your reset and you'll be free to go. Well, you have any other cases here? Or
Yes, Your
just-
Honor, I have two more with the same. I filed the same motion.
Okay, Samantha Hudson, would you get his client, Samantha Hudson? That's just set, that was set on an announcement docket. That one.
She is probably a drug reporter.
Oh, I see, yeah, she's,
Is that her? Yeah, okay.
okay. You didn't, well, we use it on file. Ms. Hudson, your name is Samantha A. Hudson, is that correct? How you doing, Ms. Hudson? I'm doing fine, thanks, Ms. Hudson. Your attorney, Mr. Smith, is asking that this case be reset. And how much time do you need, Mr. Smith?
It would like to say late November, early December.
Okay, give us a date. Thank you. Okay. Case is reset November 29th of 2021. Ms. Hudson, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mr. Smith, she need to get your signature over there.
My signature.
Yes, on the pad.
And I have Adam Alvarez and Woodrow Black.
Okay, could you get those? Ratcliffe. Got Ratcliffe.
That's okay. Let me get you to cut it a whole new up and maybe.
Okay, this is cause number 325570, State of Texas versus Adam Earl Alvarez. Is that correct? How you doing, Mr. Alvarez?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Alvarez, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Smith. Mr. Smith, what is your announcement in Mr. Alvarez case?
We're at the same note.
So you want this reset same date,
Same day, effect.
November 29th? Mr. Alvarez case has been reset for the November 29th of 2021. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. Mr. Smith, just stand over. She got to get your signature. Alvarez on the trial conference, pre-trial conference, page 1, number 6, case down. She needs you to sign
Last
that.
one, you know, is Woodrow Black.
Okay, I think she got to get you to sign that pad. Mr. Woodrow Ratcliffe, you could come forward. You need him to sign the pad? This is cause number 326318, case is styled State of Texas versus Woodrow Wilson Radcliffe III. Is that your full name? Oh. Okay, Mr. Radcliffe, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Now, Mr. Bruce Smith, I have just been informed from the bailiff that Mr. Radcliffe has a warrant.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. So, okay, now, is that what is it, new case number or what's?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a new case.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, this case, you need this case reset
Yes, sure.
the same date, the
That'll be
November,
fine.
reset him November 29th? Well, this is on the trial docket. Okay, he got a new case that just,
I apologize for continuance,
Okay.
for the same reason, but he has a new case, so that's another reason.
right,
I didn't find out about the new case until this morning.
okay. Okay, so, see, I want him on the trial docket. This one is just, you just can't, so you're gonna be hired on this one, or you already hired on this one, the new case?
I'm appointed on this case
Appointed, okay,
here.
so you're gonna be appointed on
I
the
think
whole case.
Marcia Norman is going to be appointed on, is the court attorney for his felony.
Oh, it's felony, okay, okay, but on the misdemeanors, so the felony case is the new case?
Yes, sure.
He has a new felony, okay, that's not a problem. Let's do that case is gonna be carried along with that felony case. It's probably what's gonna happen, right? So what we might need to do is put it on an announcement docket.
Yes.
Okay, let's put this case on an announcement docket.
November 29th, or
Let's give him some more time because that felony case, he's gonna get arrested. Then they're gonna give him a court date probably 60 days from now, or something like that. It's gonna be a while.
January the 3rd or January 31st?
Probably the 31st.
31st, okay. So it's gonna be reset. This case is gonna be reset to January 31st of 2022. Mr. Radcliffe, your attorney is gonna be given a copy of your reset. You got his, once you sign the pad, you can give him a copy, and then you have to follow the bailiff. Okay? No, you're gonna follow the instructions of the bailiff. Okay. Gilthorpe?
At the office.
Okay,
I can cover for him though.
okay, okay, this is, 315528, Monaco Crippen?
Custody?
No, could you,
I'm here.
oh, which one over there? She's on Zoom. How you doing, Ms. Crippen?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Galmore, you make an announcement for
Yes,
Mr.
Judge.
Gilthorpe? This is on the trial. He's ready?
He's ready.
Okay, state?
That is ready, Your Honor.
Okay, look like, all right. So, Ms. Crippen,
Yes, sir.
you and your attorney, Mr. Gilthorpe, has to be here tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock PM
1 o'clock. Okay.
in court. You can't appear on Zoom, you have to be here in person.
I will be here.
Okay, okay. We'll see you tomorrow in court at 1 PM.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're free to go. Okay. Let's see, Galmore. Russell Bean,
Yes,
is Russell Bean here?
yes.
Okay. Okay, Tyler Tatum. Okay, this is cause number 324-437 and cause number 324-865. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Tyler Tatum. Mr. Tatum, how are you doing?
Well, and yourself?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Tatum, both your cases are on the trial docket. And Mr. Galmore, how are you doing?
Great, Judge. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Galmore, what is your announcement in Mr. Tatum's cases?
We're ready.
State?
State is ready, Your Honor.
Ready. Okay. Now, Mr. Galmore. Let's see. You within one of the first three. Yeah, so you'll be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Okay? All right, we'll see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Y'all have a blessed day. Let's see, LeBlanc is not here. Oops, Adams, okay.
Tyler Connor is right below Tyler Tatum. We're above him, I believe. Actually, I think he's above him.
Connor?
Tyler Connor.
Oh, he was above him. He's on Zoom. Okay, I missed that one. Mr. Tyler Lindsay Connor?
Yes, sir. How are you, Judge?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Connor, your case in cause number 321-566 is set on the court's trial docket. You're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Dustin Galmore. Mr. Galmore, what's your announcement in Mr. Connor's
Ready.
case? Your announcement ready? State? Your announcement ready as well? So, Mr. Connor, you and your attorney, Mr. Dustin Galmore, will appear in court tomorrow at 1 o'clock for trial. We'll see you then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have a blessed day. Okay, you're free to go.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Just walk in.
Bean. Oh,
Bean, first
okay,
page.
that's it. This is cause number 321-225 and cause number 327-795. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Russell Bean. Now, Mr. Bean, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Dustin Galmore. Mr. Bean, how are you doing?
All right, just tired, worked all night.
Oh, okay, hope you could get your rest. Now, Mr. Galmore, Mr. Bean cases are set on one say not a trial, the other one say was transferred for a trial. But you have he has some felony cases?
That's true, Judge. So the situation is there's been some new cases filed. However, the DWI, the only case that I'm currently on, the DWI is independent of any of the other cases.
Okay.
And I really don't see any way that the other cases are going to resolve the DWI.
Right.
So it's still a trial and we're ready.
State?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Okay, ready. So you and your client be here tomorrow at 1. Okay. All right, see y'all tomorrow.
One more, Robert Goff.
Okay. The second case, we gonna carry that to over till tomorrow as well. You say golf?
No, he's on Zoom.
Hey, Mr. Goff? How are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm
Mr.
good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Your case is on the trial docket and cause number 27450. Mr. Galmore, what's your announcement?
Trial judge ready.
State?
State's ready.
Okay, now on this one, Mr. Galmore, we'll just have you on standby. Your client does not need to appear if we get down to him, then you can, I guess, notify him to be.
Will do.
Okay, so he doesn't have to be here at, tomorrow.
Okay.
And Mr. Goff, this will conclude your case. Stay in contact with your attorney. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Thank you too.
Brandy Jackson. Okay. Your name is Brandy Nicole Jackson. How you doing, Ms. Jackson? I'm doing fine, Ms. Jackson. You were here represented by your attorney, Mr. Langston Adams. Mr. Adams, how you doing?
Doing good, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Adams, what is your announcement in Ms. Jackson's case?
Ms. Jackson is currently recovering from injuries.
Oh.
She was just assaulted last night, I believe. If you can look.
I understand.
Okay, so she's not in a condition to go to trial today. She's also gonna be in a complaining witness with the guy who assaulted her. I believe she has a medical appointment tomorrow to get the eye lanced, get the blood out of there. And she also has some injuries, I believe, internally.
Now, state, so you're asking for a continuance? Is that an oral continuance, Mr. Adams?
Right, because I just found out about an injury today.
State, what is your,
No objection from state.
okay. Okay, so Jackson, just gonna be reset. Defense, motion for continuance granted. Okay, Ms. Jackson, your case is being reset. They're gonna give you a reset date. Your attorney will get your reset. Please stay in contact with your attorney. We hope that you have a full recovery from your injuries. You'll, once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Oh, yeah, you gotta sign over there. Alexa, you gotta sign the pad. Perfect.
Got one more.
You're the last one on this one. Leonard Thomas,
He's in jail, and I think. there's
Oh,
gonna be a bench
yeah.
trial.
it's gonna be a bench trial?
Yeah,
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, we need to have him over, tomorrow. You saying it's just gonna be a bench trial? When you wanna do it? Oh, you
Right
saying,
now,
oh, oh.
'cause you don't have, you do a bail call for the
Oh,
witness.
okay, I
Yeah,
thought
we
you
do
was
it right
talking
now.
about I thought you was talking about a regular full-blown bench trial.
No, no, just, all I wanted was a bail call. No, not.
This is cause number 330556. Case is styled the state of Texas. You know what? Okay, I'm just finishing up the trial docket. We're almost there. Oh, Mr. Adams. They need you to sign it. sir.
Cool. I see y'all Thursday.
That's your card. Yes. The last one is, if we can get Mr. Tyler, Tyler Parker. Yes, Tyler Parker is here. Why don't you go get Tyler Parker? At the just near the end of the docket. And then we're gonna do Mr. This is cause number 326300, case of style state of Texas versus Tyler Wayne Parker. Your full name is Tyler Wayne Parker?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Parker?
Doing all right.
That's good. Mr. Parker, you here represented by your attorney, Mr. Tom Kelly. Mr. Kelly, how you doing?
I'm great, Judge. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Kelly, what is your announcement?
Judge, we're going to sign a pretrial diversion contract in December.
Okay, we're gonna set this case second week in December. Okay, case is gonna be reset for December 13th. Mr. Parker, stay in contact with your attorney. Once you get your reset, Mr. Kelly, could you please sign?
Yes.
Once you sign your reset and get your reset, you'll be free to go on your. Okay, you're welcome. You're free to go.
I'm going to appear for Mr. Burbank. Yes.
Burbank. Yeah, Mr. Gary Grill, would you please come forward? Mr. Greer, your attorney is Mr. Tom Burbank. However, Mr. Tom Kelly is appearing in place of Mr. Burbank. Does he have your permission?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Greer, how are you doing?
Doing good.
That's good. Mr. Kelly, what is the announcement you'd like to make on behalf of Mr. Greer for Mr. Burbank?
Judge, what Mr. Burbank relayed to me this morning before he left for the federal courthouse was that Mr. Greer is already in the pretrial diversion program, so we're unsure why we were on the docket.
Good question.
Not that we don't want to be here, it just seems like we didn't need to be.
You say you already in the pretrial diversion program?
Yes, sir. Well, I suppose, Judge, that would indicate that the state has, have you signed your contract?
Oh,
You haven't signed yet.
you hadn't signed the
Okay.
contract. Okay,
So then
okay.
that's our announcement, Judge.
Okay, so well, you don't know if he has a sign-up date or not.
I would imagine it's December.
Okay, let's set him the second week in December. Okay, that's why it's still on the dock. Okay. December 13th, is that correct? Okay, Mr. Greer, your case is reset December 13th. Once you get the reset, you'll be free to go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Macy? Kevin Banks? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's on the trial docket. Mr. Banks, would you please come forward? This is cause number 328674. Case of style of state of Texas versus Kevin Banks. Mr. Banks, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Banks, you represented here by your attorney, Mr. John Macy. Mr. Macy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor.
Mr. Macy, what is your announcement in Mr. Banks' case?
Mr. Banks, ready, Your Honor.
State?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Banks, or Mr. Macy, we're gonna have you on standby because we have several cases before you. One of those cases likely probably will go. So you just be on saying, if that changes, the situation changes, this office will give you a call and you can call Mr. Banks and we'll tell you what time to be here.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go. You have a blessed day. Stay in contact with your attorney.
Thanks, Mr. Banks.
Let's, Caitlin Thomas.
Next, we'll try. So let me know when you have to be there, and I'll call you and tell you. Could be a day's notice. Okay. You need him to sign the reset or just?
You have to send us a reset, yes. Well, actually, you just come back tomorrow. You don't,
I come
they're
back
gonna,
tomorrow.
yeah, but yeah, well, we'll let you know. You don't have to come back, but just be on standby for tomorrow. They're gonna send you something. So yeah, y'all free to go.
Thank you.
Okay, this is cause number 329346, case of style of state of Texas versus Caitlin Elvira Sarah Thomas. Is that your full name? How you doing, Miss Thomas? I'm doing fine. Ms. Thomas, I have before me an information that, yes,
We want to withhold that at this time for her plea.
you want to withhold what for the plea?
I mean, she doesn't want to plea at this time.
So you want to
We
reset?
have reset.
Okay. So, you would need a standard reset?
Yes,
Give us a reset date. I think they're doing it November the 29th.
is that yes, November 29th. But I can't reset it right now. But I'm trying to get her the free trial conversion program for December. That's the 13th.
Is she already signed up to go in the pre-trial?
I'm submitting her name.
Okay, well, let me do this. I'm gonna have to reset this case to February because the list, you probably won't be able to get in for December. Let's do a second week in February.
Okay, thank you. February the 14th.
February 14th. You could get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. And y'all have a blessed day. Is Bernice Simmons here?
Bernice Simmons?
Yeah.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I'm the attorney for Ms. Simmons. I think it's
Oh,
Bernice.
okay. Simmons is jail. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. Normally, I didn't see that. Her felony case is set for November 16th of 2021. Normally, if you want it set on that date, we can set it on that date. If a different date, we can give you a different date.
November 16th, you say?
November the 16th, yes.
I think that'll work for me.
Okay, so we're gonna keep it on November the 16th of 2021. We will send you your reset. And Mr. Giles, thanks for being patient with us.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Giles,
Your Honor.
okay, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
You do the same, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we should have Mr. McLean out there. Okay, we're in session in clause number 329314, State of Texas versus Jordan Davion Reed. Mr. Reed,
Yes, sir.
your attorney, Mr. Rojas, appeared in court, and your case has been dismissed by the state. Stay in contact with your attorney. You're free to go. Your case is dismissed.
Yes, sir. Can you tell my attorney to call me, or can I have his number?
Well, your attorney is not here he's not here present.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll try to get his number. I got his name. I'll look him up.
Okay.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Judge.
All right. You have a blessed day.
You too.
Okay. On our trial doc, we still have Ms. McLean, right?
Your Honor, also Mr. Rucker, I think he's.
Rucker's on there
That was
too?
the one I had as the number one.
Which one?
Rucker, he's on our last page on our trial doc. Jerry Rucker.
Rucker?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, wow. On the trial docket?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's see.
I think it's Jerry Gilthorpe.
Oh, yes, Rucker. Yeah, it is Mr. Gilthorpe's case. We need to, he's on there. We need to get in contact with Mr. Gilthorpe. Mr. Galmo was here earlier.
I'll text him real quick. I know he was going to the jail. He was gonna go talk to him at the jail. So we knew we had either this one's going for sure, or that Diamond Cole Crippen, I think were the two that we had.
Crippen is,
That's his as well. That's his. Fine as well.
okay. Why don't you get Jennifer McLean in? Mr. Cobb? Okay.
Your Honor, I don't know if you've got my motion for continuance yet. It was supposed to have been sent Friday.
Okay,
but for some reason, we had a problem with the e-file.
Mr. Cobb,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are the standby attorney in this case. You're not Mrs. McLean's attorney. Ms. McLean has signed a waiver of counsel and to represent herself. And so the court appointed you as a standby attorney. We cannot have hybrid representation.
I understand. But we got a problem in that a lot of discovery was sent to me, and I didn't totally be able to share it with Miss McLean. I need to make sure that I have that. But something came over the discovery when I looked at it. I think I had mentioned it before, that the young man who is actually the subject of this case is he's not yet been yes.
Mr. Cobb, your role as the standby attorney, you only give advice when asked from Mrs. McLean. Okay, you have not been appointed as an attorney because she waived appointment of counsel, and she signed a waiver, and because she wanted her waive, she requested to waive her right to an attorney, and she requested to represent herself. Is that correct?
I'm here by medical person.
Okay. So, so right now, Ms. McLean is representing herself, and you are only a standby attorney, and your role as a standby attorney obviously is to give advice when asked by Ms. McLean.
I would advise her not to try this case right now because of the situation. There's an ethical situation here.
Okay, Mr. Cobb. Your role is as a standby attorney. She asks for advice, you give advice. And thus far, since I've been here, right now, she hasn't asked for advice. And so if she would like to talk to you, I mean, she can do that.
Okay.
But right now, what I'm saying is Ms. McLean actually is representing her case. Now, case is on the trial docket. She is one of several cases that we have on the trial docket. I was just having Ms. McLean to come in and announce, Ms. McLean, whether or not you are ready or not ready for trial. Yes? You ready? Okay.
Mr. Parker, you here represented by your attorney, Mr. Tom Kelly. Mr. Kelly, how you doing? I'm great, Judge. Thank you very much.
I'm doing fine. Mr. Kelly, what is your announcement? Cobb, you have a tape or something on?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the standby counsel for this thing.
No. I was hearing myself in the background talking to Mr. Kelly, who was here several minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing that, Your Honor.
Okay, just put your mic on mute.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, now, Ms. McLean, state, what's your announcement?
The state's ready, Your Honor.
Okay.
Are you mean to go to trial today, like right this second, without any?
Let me actually, okay, let me back up. Okay, your case is on the trial docket.
Okay.
And it is set for trial along with other cases. And
You
so
mean
what?
right this second?
No, not this second, but
Okay, so you go to trial.
if your case is going to trial,
Mm.
the trial, and if your case is picked to go to trial out of the cases that we have, your trial will start tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. The jury is scheduled to be here for those cases that's set for trial. They're scheduled to be here for 1:30 on tomorrow.
Okay.
So I need to know, what is your announcement? Are you announcing ready or are you announcing not ready?
Ready.
Okay, state?
State's ready.
Okay, now, Ms. McLean, let me tell you this. Your case is one of several cases that we have. There's no guarantee that your case will be going to trial on tomorrow, but you will appear because there are other cases that may be set before you that have a priority. And if those cases fall and it falls down, and your case may be up. So what we do is we ask the attorney and defendants who is real close to the top of the docket to be here tomorrow for 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. Now, your case is one of several cases. It may or may not. Do you understand that?
I do.
All right. So you'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. And you're free to go. You have a blessed day.
You too.
Okay. Let's see, what else we have? Now, Mr. Cobb, you can take your mic off of mute.
Your Honor, I'm not sure I understood what happened with everybody talking over each other. The audio just went crazy.
Okay, well.
We're having audio problems.
Okay.
And
there's a. Please come forward. This is call number 328-674. Case of style of state versus Kevin Banks. Mr. Banks, how you doing? Mr. Cobb, do you have YouTube on?
Yes, I have YouTube on.
No, that's the problem. That's why you're hearing that background.
Yeah, should I take it off?
Yeah, because that's why it's sounding like people are talking over each other.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay. Let me try to take it off.
Likely probably will go. So you're just saying if that changes, the situation changes, this office will give you a call and you can call Mr. Banks and we'll tell you what time to be here. All right, you're free to go. You have a blessed day. Stay in contact with your attorney.
I can't turn it off. I'm trying to get off.
Okay. Just put your mic on mute. And when you get it, we'll come back to you.
Yeah. I got something to say.
Okay, put your mic on mute.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I don't know if you've got my motion for continuance yet. It's supposed to have been sent Friday.
Okay,
For some reason, we had a problem with the e-file.
Mr. Bob,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are the standby attorney in this case. You're not Mrs. McLean's attorney. Ms. McLean has signed a waiver of counsel and to represent herself. And so the court appointed you as a standby attorney. We cannot have hybrid representation.
I understand. But we got a problem in that a lot of the discovery was sent to me, and I didn't totally be able to share it with Ms. McLean. I need to make sure that I have that. But something came over the discovery when I looked at it. I think I had mentioned it before, that the young man who is actually the subject of this case is he's not yet been yes.
Mr. Cox, your role as a standby attorney, you only give advice when asked from Mr. Adam, Mrs. McLean. Okay? You have not been appointed as an attorney because she waived appointment of counsel, and signed a waiver because she wanted to waive. She requested a waiver right to attorney. Mr. Cobb. Herself. Is that correct? Mr. Cobb. Okay. So. Mr. Cobb. So right now, Ms. McLean. Mr. Cobb.
Yes.
And you are on. Put your mic on mute. We can hear you. We can hear this stuff in the background. All right. Thanks a lot. Okay, Mr. Gilthorpe. Okay. Okay, this is called, okay, that's Mr. LeBlanc just chimed in too, okay. Mr. Gilthorpe, this is cause number 329-277, the state of Texas versus Jerry Wayne Rucker. Mr. Gilthorpe, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
That's good. Now, Mr. Gilthorpe, Mr. Rucker's case is set on the court's trial docket. What is your announcement?
Judge, we're ready.
State?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Gilthorpe, so Mr. Ruckers is currently, okay, his case is probably gonna be the #1 case.
Correct, Judge.
Okay. And so, won't you get here at about 1 o'clock tomorrow?
Okay.
And Mr. Rucker will be here tomorrow at 1 o'clock as well. And I think this is your last case. Mr. Galmore announced for you earlier.
Oh, on Miss Crippen?
Oh, yeah, because we told, yeah, that might be 1 and 2. You might be 1 and 2.
We're ready on both of them, Judge. Take your pick.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Okay. All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
I'll be there.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
All right,
Bye-bye.
you have a nice day. Okay, Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Henning, would you please come forward? This is cause number 325-414-2, case to style the state of Texas versus Chelsea Caroline Henning.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how you doing, Ms. Henning?
I'm doing okay.
That's good. Ms. Henning, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Tyler LeBlanc, who's appearing via Zoom. Mr. LeBlanc, how are you doing?
Good, Judge. Thanks for asking.
Okay, Mr. LeBlanc, Ms. Henning's case is on the court's trial docket. What is your announcement?
Judge, I'm not ready at this time. I've been getting ready for a murder trial in Coons that just pled an hour ago.
Okay.
So I'm not ready on this one, Judge.
Okay, State, you have any objections to this case being reset?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, give us you gonna keep it on the trial docket?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, give us a trial date. Okay, this case is gonna be reset to January 31st of 2022 for trial. Mr. LeBlanc, your reset will be sent to you, and Ms. Henning, you can get copy of your reset from our court coordinator over there. Once you get that reset, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day, and thanks for being patient with us. All right. And
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Okay, Mr. LeBlanc, you're free to go, and you have a blessed day. Your reset will be sent to you.
Thank you, you too, Judge.
Okay, you're welcome.